This episode of Lore Drop is sponsored by Chad and Rachel Wolf. Thanks for listening from Kansas City, Mom and Dad.
Okay, we're recording.
The only thing that's really like objectionable is the neck,
the face cover.
the neck. But I mean, honestly, maybe if it was a little shorter, I could see myself wearing it.
Oh, man,
is that a hot
that's
take?
so funny.
Is that a hot take?
I don't think so.
It's the fact that you went from no to, well, maybe within the span of like 8 seconds.
Listen, I'm a free thinker.
You said fashion disaster. Well, maybe.
I had to look closer. You know, I had to zoom and enhance. I'm like, wait a Can you guess what character I'm talking about?
Reinvent Podcast.
Oh, man.
I'm Abby, the executive director of Reinvent Production.
I'm Ben, the creative and artistic director.
And our third party member today is...
Hello, I'm Justin Gonzalez. I'm an actor, composer, occasional player, and
a fashion expert.
fashion expert with Reinvent.
It's going great.
Guys, do y'all know who Tsunagu Hakamata is?
Third hero costume. It's fine. Today... it's off to a great start. So we have just finished up our Talon Squad episodes, and we are transitioning back into talking about Children of Destiny Cataclysm elements, characters, and events that are happening that will help you have a little bit better background knowledge before that starts dropping very soon. At the end of this month when it is coming out. But so today we're going to be talking about QUARTZ-Bots with Justin. And before we do that, we are going to be talking, before we talk about these killer robots, we will be talking about the most part of the episode, which is what animated trio the three of us are. I have shown Justin a picture from My Hero Academia, which is what we were discussing at the top of this episode. I've decided that we are a pro hero trio. Ben is Eraserhead, I am Miss Joke, and
I'm
Justin,
Jeans.
Justin
I'm Mr. Jeans.
is best genist.
Is that his name?
That's his name.
Best genist.
Best
What?
genist, yeah.
Bro, come on.
So here's the thing. Well, also look how he is all neck.
What is he doing?
What about that? It's like a nice.
It
Little...
looks like a Danganronpa character.
I don't think they ever show us his mouth.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, do they?
Look at his mouth. They never show us his neck.
Oh, yes. I forgot about that, yeah.
So here's the thing. Best Genius is he's top 3.
He's number 4 at the start of the show.
What does
Wait,
he's the previous number 4 and later number 3.
Yeah, number 3 hero. His quirk, his superpower allows him to control any fabric fiber.
He's the fiber hero.
Oh, I guess that is.
So, yeah.
I guess that is on theme.
Yeah, what he uses that for is he basically is able to constrict people in their own clothes. It's like, cool, boom, you can't move because your clothes are way too tight now, and they're
or is able to
keeping them together.
Save people by having
pulling
the fiber,
them. Yeah,
pulling them.
Well, I will be graduating with an apparel design minor.
Yeah.
So I guess if I'm going to be anybody, it's going to be Mr. Jeans.
He also speaks in clothing puns.
all denim puns.
All denim puns.
Yeah.
Which, at first, you're
Constantly comparing things to jeans and denim.
Yeah. Oh, no. I think... So, listen. Justin Kral hates Best Genus.
What?
Anytime that he comes up,
I love Best Genist. He's so good.
Kral hates him. He pops up and she's like, "What? Why is this guy here?"
Best Genist is the greatest hero in the show. No flaws whatsoever.
The GOAT.
Tell me one time that Best Genist ever makes a mistake.
He's won Best Genus 8 years in a row.
Yeah.
Okay, can we start talking about robots?
Okay.
Okay, wait, hold on. I do want to say why. So we've been wanting to get Justin Gonzalez on the pod for a while because I'm like, oh, Justin's really good at coming up with questions and whatever. Ben has been prepping himself to try and be as prepared as possible for whatever question Justin Gonzalez asks. I will say, I specifically wanted Justin on this episode for the QUARTZ-Bots because I do have in my head the little sound bit of him as River from What If being like, I'm gonna call a QUARTZ-Bot, and I can't even do it justice, but like I do distinctly remember how he delivered that line for What If after Bright Star beat the crap out of him fairly easily.
Yeah.
But yes, that is a big reason why Justin is on this episode
It's so good.
today.
Yeah.
I was wondering why, because usually your guests have some kind of, relevance to what you're talking
you
about.
do have a connection.
Right.
You have a connection to this.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, QUARTZ-Bots in the Reinvent universe, in Universe 17 especially, are a classification of automaton, which serves a wide range of purposes. They are invented by Dr. Abraham Renard of Gemstone Industries. They are invented, the earliest prototypes are in 2015, and they operate and are being made and manufactured all the way up to the present. Notable members of, or notable like QUARTZ-Bots individually include QUARTZ-Bot Lambda, QUARTZ-Bot Delta, and QUARTZ Noir. Some notable adversaries for the QUARTZ-Bots include the Industrial City Police Department, the Bandits Trade Union, and later on the Stand. But yeah, from there we sort of have this like internal labeling system for QUARTZ-Bots with their classification system. So we have the prototypes, which are like the early QUARTZ-Bots that served as like a field test to see if they're able to be out there in like combat. Because the whole idea with these QUARTZ-Bots is that they were eventually going to replace the Industrial City Police as the like law enforcement body in the city.
And no one ever watched the movie RoboCop to see how bad of an idea that would be.
So those are those early prototypes. After there, you get the Greek alphabet models. There are 24 of these ones, each of them with a like letter of the Greek alphabet as their designation. And each of these are the ones that end up being offered as a supplementary force to the DCPD later in the Cataclysm story. But each of them, again, has their own Greek alphabet letter and their own special like onboard like tools and abilities that they're able to use and their own like purposes that they're used for. So these ones, each of them is a unique thing. They all have various sizes and weapons and abilities and stuff. And so we see these all over the Cataclysm story. They'll pop up here and there.
I'm having war flashbacks to APO of having to learn the Greek alphabet.
That's funny.
And
and
so
so
a little song in my head going right now.
Oh yeah. After that, after the Greek alphabet models is the standard models. And so these are the ones that are after the GCPD dissolves. The standard ones are the ones that replace them in Industrial City. So these ones are mass produced and they are the official replacement. These pop up in 2018. And so these all have individual like model like identifiers still. So these include like the War, Stealth, Enforcer, Operator, and Sentinel units. And so these are the kinds that we see in What If at that point. And so additional models can also be made and designed based off of like special requests. And so these include like the Rondor model and the Blood model, the one that works specifically with Andrew Blood. And then there's also the Sartopolis units, which are the ones that are sent underwater.
Those ones are pretty cool.
Those ones are cool.
I like the underwater ones.
Yeah.
That does remind me, I do have another connection to QUARTZ-Bots because the character I played in that one shot got destroyed by a QUARTZ-Bot.
Oh.
Yep, and that's was my next talking point was the prototype field test. So going into some of the stories that QUARTZ-Bots are involved in before Cataclysm is we did a one shot after we did What If the first time with our cast and crew who were interested in joining. And so I think we have probably 8 or 9 people playing at this table. And so this was a way prequel to What If, prequel to Cataclysm even. And this is sort of about the origin of QUARTZ-Bots and sort of also to show everyone how much more dangerous Andrew Blood is at tabletop than on stage.
Yeah.
And so in this story, the members of the 10th precinct of the Industrial City Police Department received a tip about a report of a missing persons case and possible homicide at this wealthy individual's home in Industrial City. And so Captain Porter sent a crew of police officers to go check it out and sort of like set up the scene and everything. And so those officers went to the scene and started investigating this house and found a lot of really weird things going on. Some some hidden passageways that would lead them into other floors and rooms. There's this sort of like cavernous area underneath of the mansion, this sort of like blood trail here and there leading them. And they ended up finding about 4 different dead bodies across this mansion before a handful of them ended up trapped underneath the mansion in this sort of cavern where they were faced with 4, I believe, of these prototype QUARTZ-Bots. And they started fighting them. And this is this is the first go at them. And so they were still like hard to beat, but not unbeatable. And, you know, they found their weaknesses. And eventually, once all of the officers had been gathered up in there and they were like on the cusp of like getting the upper hand against the QUARTZ-Bots, then Andrew Blood showed up and said, "That's sweet.
Right.
Very nice. Now, here's the thing. He was like, I was told to test out these robots. I'm not a huge fan of them, but what I am a huge fan of is people, because people are easy to manipulate. So what he offers is that
he did not say it that way.
He offers all of these officers a chance. What he tells them is like, hey, I'm starting in my own little mini project on the side that later ends up being the Emerald Protocol, where he is recruiting members of the DCPD to be on his and Gemstone Industries payroll so they can be double agents later on at some point, within the DCPD. And so he says, all you have to do is act natural, be normal. When we have a specific request, help us out. But until then, you'll receive this point that will tell you specific instructions. But if you agree, you'll receive 3 times the pay with no extra responsibilities other than the little task here and there. And a majority of the officers here say absolutely. And I think there were only 2 that said, no, I will not agree to this. And one of them was Justin's character, Hefter Dolark.
Yeah.
Who was on his retirement.
Right.
This was your last mission, wasn't it?
Yeah. Old Officer Dolark.
Yeah.
Who was the other guy? Who was the other one?
I think the other one was JD's character. I can't remember what his character's name was.
Well, wasn't that the one that I was palling around with most of the time?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You two were like old partners.
Well, he's the one that killed Officer Dolark.
Oh yeah.
Remember?
Never
I think
mind.
he was
yeah.
the only one.
Maybe Hefter was the only one. Yeah.
Because I think Andrew Blood was like, hey, I
Yes,
think I
no,
want
you're
you
right,
specifically
right.
to kill Officer Dolark.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
Prove your loyalty. I'm like,
and then they did.
And fun fact,
It was such a bummer.
Yeah.
Officer Dolark is River's father.
Yeah.
As well.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's good stuff. Yeah. Oh man, but yeah, so that was their first like in timeline appearance, but their first real world appearance is in the Cataclysm campaign. They showed up in session 1 and also in episode 1 Cataclysm in the pilot. The party is on the Envious Dream, making their way towards Dustria City, and Severica stumbles upon a shipping container with a giant robot inside of it that is labeled as QUARTZ-Bot Lambda from Gemstone Industries. And so Severica accidentally activates QUARTZ-Bot Lambda, and it goes on a rampage in the ship. And so Severica, Navita, and Reaper team up with Wendy Rhodes, Mike Walsh, and John Winslow to fight this QUARTZ-Bot, and it takes the collective efforts of all 6 of them to actually beat this thing. It's about 10 feet tall. It is like giant, and it's just like a throwing hands robot. There's one point where it just like throws Reaper into the side of a shipping container, and he's like stuck there for a little bit. But yeah, and so after that, they show up then at the end of the Welcome to Dustria City arc, because they're just this sort of like mysterious element so far, right? And at the end of it, when the party has made their escape from Gemstone Industries, Andrew Blood sends 2 more QUARTZ-Bots after them, QUARTZ-Bots Iota and Theta. So from there, it is Iota and Theta chase the party through this building up to this rooftop, and then there's this whole confrontation where the party has to choose between what faction they're going with. And so Reaper goes with the bandits, Severica and Navita go with the DCPD, and the DCPD end up having to fight QUARTZ-Bot Theta? No, it is Iota is the one that they end up fighting. I got that mixed up at some point. But yes, Theta is the one that you're voicing. But yeah, it is Iota that they end up fighting. And they are able to defeat Iota with the help of Maurice and Thomas and Adam and Neil of the DCPD. And so from there, we don't see much from the QUARTZ-Bots for a while because they're still sort of in this testing phase. 2 of them have been destroyed now, and these are super expensive to make. And so that's also on the sort of like background thing of why these are being made was Dr. Renard was working with Dr. Alexander Wright, the inventor of the power rings initially, and that didn't go according to plan. And so Dr. Renard is like, I have a better plan for how we can take over the city, robots. And so the Gemstone had already made a deal with King Festus Remington of Rondor to use Rondorium for the power rings. And he said, hey, let's not cut off this deal yet. Let's keep using the Rondorium, but put it as the metal plating for these robots, which is what makes them so like durable and really hard to actually damage. But the key thing with these ones, these Greek alphabet models, is that they are not covered at the joints, so that is their weak spot. They are able to be damaged there. And so from there is the next big thing that we get with a QUARTZ-Bot is the curious case of QUARTZ-Bot Delta. There is an incident that happens between arcs where Elizabeth tasks Severica Navita and Severica's sister Saoirse with following a case that she is not allowed to work on anymore because of it's a conflict of interest from her days as a PI. But Antonio Merlin, son of Ronaldo Merlin, the head of the DCPD, the Dustry City Prison, Antonio Merlin has gone missing, but he is also still like a suspect at large for other crimes that are going on. So Elizabeth essentially hires Severica, Navita, and Saoirse as PIs to go look into this. And so they go find this sort of abandoned apartment building, and which is the last place that he was seen. And they go inside and they find Antonio's dead body inside. And they're going around, and what else they stumble upon is a QUARTZ-Bot. Not a giant QUARTZ-Bot like they've met all 3 times so far, but a normal, like, person-sized one that is just not human passing, but if you see the silhouette, it's like, okay, that's probably someone, like, wearing armor or whatever. This is QUARTZ-Bot Delta. And QUARTZ-Bot Delta is much more reserved, and it doesn't seem, like, combat-focused, but it does straight up admit to being like, hey, I killed Antonio Merlin.
Oh!
And they're like, why? And he was like, he was a terrible person. And so this is the first... The thing that is like the curious case is that QUARTZ-Bot Delta is the first one that is like talking like a person, because the other ones, Lambda, Theta, and Iota at this point are very much like processing and like running systems and everything. And Delta is just like having a full-on conversation with them and almost seems to be like has a morality of some kind inside of it, right? And so that is this sort of early thing of like, there's something more to these QUARTZ-Bots. They're not just supposed to be a replacement for the DCPD, it seems. And they don't even know that part of it, right? But they're just like, what? That's the mystery here is what is the purpose of these QUARTZ-Bots for them? And so the next time that we see QUARTZ-Bots in use at large is in the Council of Three arc, when the 2 of the 3 members of the Council of Three are assassinated and Roy Smith is kidnapped. Gemstone Industries mobilizes the rest of their QUARTZ-Bots to be like, hey, we're going to help the DCPD search for Roy Smith. And part of this is also because we talked about this in some of the other episodes. They paid the people who kidnapped Roy Smith. They're like, hey, we need you to kidnap him. So we actually know where he's at, but we're going to pretend like it's this big search going on. And so they let a little bit of time pass, and then wouldn't you know, the QUARTZ-Bots found him. These things could be really helpful if we sent them out to help the police. And so that ends up getting passed and officially put into standard. So the rest of these QUARTZ-Bots, these Greek alphabet models, are distributed amongst the DCPD precincts that volunteer to house them. The 17th precinct notably says no thank you. And so
and wouldn't you know, that worked out a little bit better for
we'll
them.
We'll get there soon. But the next thing that happens is a specific malfunction with QUARTZ-Bot Tau. This one works at, I believe it was like the 3rd precinct, I want to say. But with this one, what happened, this is right before the Order of the Unbound arc. Right after it. But QUARTZ-Bot Tau is the QUARTZ-Bot here, and this QUARTZ-Bot is able to sort of a la like the Beast Transformers, transforms into different like animals, is what it, sort of like robotic animals and stuff. But one day it just went like haywire and started attacking police officers like in the precinct. And so they evacuated the precinct, called in a repair person from Gemstone Industries to see what was going on. And so some people were sent to check out what was going on, and the QUARTZ-Bot Tau then continued attacking the people that were sent, but did not attack the repair person at all. And so QUARTZ-Bot Tau did end up getting destroyed in that process as well. And so that they were like, wow, that was really odd and bizarre that happened. And then the next major thing that we get from the QUARTZ-Bots is the Emerald Conspiracy arc. And in this one, at the end of it, what happens is that when the whole situation with the Emerald Ring happens and Andrew Blood is captured afterwards, after getting the Emerald Ring awoken, the Emerald Protocol is initiated, and so the half of the DCPD that are on Gemstone's payroll, that project that Andrew started way back, ends up turning on the other half, and the QUARTZ-Bots are working with them. And so from the outside, it just looks like this internal battle between the DCPD, and the QUARTZ-Bots are doing their best to maintain order inside of it. And so what the public sees is like, cool, the DCPD is in shambles, not usable anymore. We have to go all in on the QUARTZ-Bots. And so from there, that is the end of the Cataclysm campaign, and the QUARTZ-Bots start getting mass produced. And so that is when we get like the standard issue models from there. The next time that we see QUARTZ-Bots in Timeline is in Dynamite, which is in Rondor. During the liberation of Rondor, this was news to pretty much everyone who was participating when the party was going through the whole like liberation battles, and when they got past Bandit Klein, they go onto the streets of Castletown. They were met with Cord, and also with Cord was a batch of the Rondor unit of QUARTZ-Bots. And these were QUARTZ-Bots that were specifically ordered by King Festus to serve as supplements for the Royal Guard, because he knew there's not a lot of actual loyalty towards him. It's just because he was the king. And he was like, cool, I need things that can actually be loyal to me. So he ordered these QUARTZ-Bots as a supplemental force to that.
These stupid robots are going to be my friends.
Yeah, and so the Aurora and the rest of the party at the time also had to fight these QUARTZ-Bots as well in Rondor, and that's the big thing they get. After Dynamite is a really crazy thing that happens with the QUARTZ-Bots, which is the QUARTZ-Bots cyborgs. This is the payoff for QUARTZ-Bot Delta, because what happens is that there is an individual who is in dire need of like medical attention. There's like a brain tumor that she has going on, and it is like terminal. And what they do is they're like, cool, we're gonna get the tumor removed with some of our surgeons, but this is a very critical part of your brain. So what we're gonna do, if you're okay with it, we would like to give you a cybernetic implant that can help sustain your life. And this cybernetic implant is a like QUARTZ-Bot processor chip. And so what the scientists at Gemstone do is and this is a little bit of a team up with Project Alpha here, but they do remove the tumor, and then they're able to like keep her alive, and then they insert that chip, and so this person functionally, for all intents and purposes, looks just like a normal human being, but has the processing power of a QUARTZ-Bot behind them, and this person becomes Quartz Noir.
I've seen Clone Wars, and I've seen what the chips do.
And so the other thing was also, this is like, okay, can this work? And they're like, cool, it can. She is functioning, and she is very easy to like, not like control. It's very much, they're still like, yeah, here are your orders and everything. They give her as much free will as they're willing to, but she is definitely used as an agent of Gemstone Industries from there, of like, cool, you're sort of like a little like spy that we can send out and blend in with normal society.
And like send it to be a babysitter for like royal children.
Yep, yeah, Quartz Noir ends up being sent as a sort of supervisor babysitter to the royal family of Rondor as a gift from Andrew Blood. And so what happens there...
It was a gift that they couldn't send back.
Yeah. The other reason that Gemstone wanted to make these QUARTZ-Bot cyborgs was they were trying to reclaim the power rings now. We want to get these back under our control because all of these being out there in the world are a problem for us now. And there's not a lot of people who are like willing to use one of these, right? And they're like, QUARTZ-Bot's easy to control. What if, and their idea is to have these people who are these QUARTZ-Bot cyborgs, because the rings have to detect signs of life, and robots are not alive. They have like electricity and stuff, but it's like detecting like a soul and a heartbeat and signs of life force and stuff. So they are attempting to get a best of both worlds thing by someone functionally being a QUARTZ-Bot, but also being a living person. And so by doing this, they can actually give them a power ring and then have full control over that power ring user as well. And so they do have a few successes with this as well.
So Quartz Noir and the rest of the cyborgs, they have free will or not?
To an extent. They have free will up until it's overridden. So it is very much like the clones in Star Wars, where it's like the clones have a chip inside of them that is what actually makes like Order 66 happen. And so it's at that point their free will gets overridden by, this is the order that you've received. Once you've completed the order, your free will is back.
do they know what they're doing?
Not really. It's one of those. It feels like a sort of like fever dream type state of like, oh, that's weird. I feel like this thing happened.
Good soldiers follow
Yeah.
orders.
And so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of these cyborgs end up getting made, and they have the designations matching the power rings that they are given, which are bleed, freeze, lead, scream, and sneak.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Who is the naming department at Gemstone? Who's in charge of that?
That's good old Abraham Renard.
He has full creative control.
Yeah, as far as QUARTZ-Bots go, yeah.
Somebody really needs to get this guy in a marketing class.
Right.
You're like, hey, buddy,
Yeah.
maybe let's get a little bit better at our naming conventions for these robots.
Yeah. But yeah, so that is the most recent like big thing with QUARTZ-Bots. The next time that we see them, and I put "see" in like air quotes, because they do have a little bit of a role in the story of What If. They are present, at least in the story of like they're referenced continuously. It's like, oh, they are the replacement for law enforcement. The Blood unit is the one that works under Andrew Blood specifically. And there's one point where one of the Blood units tries to arrest Percy instead of Glitch when there's a confrontation at the Warehouse 17. And then later on, they mentioned like the Enforcer units are being sent to sort of as like a SWAT team to try and handle Glitch.
The QUARTZ-Bot almost arresting Percy or subduing Percy is a new addition for the second edition of the script. Because I kind of did want to reference the fact that Percy is operating as a vigilante.
Yeah.
And were she to be apprehended by law enforcement, she would be jailed.
Yeah.
Because what she's doing is illegal. I mean, like, Duster City is a really crappy place to be a superhero, which is part of the sort of kindness of Andrew Blood sending her away, even though it's very selfish of him to do so. But I did really enjoy adding that page of dialogue where Glitch leaves and Percy has a broken arm and a dead body in the warehouse with her, and the QUARTZ-Bots are still focused on her instead of the guy that actually did all of the damage. And that adds onto her anger whenever she's arguing with Daphne later about the fact that like these QUARTZ-Bots are bad, when her sister is one of the people programming them. And I also think that it gave us a better button for the end of Act 1. When we originally wrote What If, we didn't write it with the intention of having an intermission. Like we were like, okay, let's just keep going. But for the sake of the lead actress, it was helpful to have an intermission because of just how physical Percy's role is. We were like, oh, we might as well do that. But I do really, out of the revisions I did for the second edition, I really like that detail of the QUARTZ-Bot. Like it is a robot. It is still like, it does not have, it's a very high functioning, smart thing, but it still is not like processing like, oh, the life form that just left, that's the more important one. We're still like seeing it an unregistered power.
There's one much closer in proximity.
And seeing the flaw with that. I really like that little addition to it. But yeah, QUARTZ-Bots are kind of messed up.
They're scary.
They're pretty cool though. They're pretty cool. I like our buddy Ray, who's the Iron Sights originator, for the very short-lived underwater thing we were trying to do. He was playing
QUARTZ-Bot War Unit 662.
Yeah. He was an underwater QUARTZ-Bot.
Yeah.
Who didn't know he was a QUARTZ-Bot.
Yeah.
Right.
How do you, what?
No, he knew he was a QUARTZ-Bot.
Wasn't there something where like he didn't? I thought there was something about it that like.
It was his like directive was missing.
Oh, his directive. It's kind of. I was like, oh, because that's when I was playing Gwen. I think.
Yeah.
It's like the scary robot and the surfer cleric.
Yeah.
So, what questions you got about these robots, buddy?
I do have questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me look at the first one. First, I guess the first thing is Quartz an acronym for something? Does that mean anything?
It is not. The initial idea was that the actual like plating of them would be made of the mineral quartz. And so it was one that whenever I was typing it out, I was like, this looks cooler if it's all caps.
Right.
So that's what happened.
It's like a marketing thing.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I see. Okay. This is a question that sort of relates to QUARTZ-Bot Delta. Is that are these QUARTZ-Bots running on AI, or has Gemstone experimented with putting human consciousness inside of a robot? Because I wouldn't put it past them to do that, like a Soma kind of thing. Is that what they are, or are they just programmed robots?
Yeah, most of them are just programmed robots. Later on, especially with like the mass-produced ones, they're on much more of like an AI type model, something that can actually like process a little bit more complex commands. But the thing with Delta is like that one is very like Delta was sort of like an accident of like what even like they don't know entirely what happened with Delta or why it was able to do this stuff. And that the thing too is that Delta also just like went missing at one point. It just walked off on its own.
So at this point, it's unknown where it is.
Yeah,
that's disconcerting.
Yeah.
Just robot just walking around.
Yeah.
Hey. He's just a coat rack somewhere now.
Yeah. And I think the thing is as well, like a lot of the especially the Greek alphabet ones had like specific purposes that they were supposed to like, you know, do these things. This is your purpose as a unit. And so Delta's purpose was to be like a stealth unit and to be like an espionage type thing. And so I think part of that there's like the Reinvent universe is no stranger to higher powers and beings intervening and messing around with the affairs of normal things, right? And so it wouldn't strike me as like, and we'll get into this at some point, but one of the key things is that it's always a mystery of why Delta ended up this way.
I see.
That doesn't really get solved, at least
do you know
in
why?
Cataclysm. Yeah.
I can certainly see that turning into like an urban legend kind of thing. Like, oh, the robot that could think like a person.
Yeah.
And, like we don't know where it is. It's like a cryptid.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like I can imagine
Robot
like
cryptid is scary.
like imagine it like doing the Sasquatch pose.
Yeah.
You know,
That's so good. Because the other thing too is that this was, and I'm kind of like debating if I still want this to be part of the canon. But the idea is that like some of the more like higher power processing of later QUARTZ-Bots comes from Richard's programming as well. Of like it was like a stolen thing. That
was going to be a question of mine too. Like because Richard exists.
Yeah.
You would think Gemstone would be interested in that, right?
Right. So I think there's like there's an element of like it's to reference Iron Man 1 with the Obadiah Stane line of like Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps.
Right.
Of like Richard is like this was built by a child who was bored. Why can't we build one of the things for itself? And someone's like, well, we did. By accident.
We don't know how we did that though.
Yeah.
We lost the notes.
Andrew Blood is like tearing apart somebody's lab. A kid! A gnome child built this. This goofy looking thing.
Yeah.
And you can't get our big scary ones to work once.
Yeah.
Come on.
But yeah.
Because
so,
Andrew ends up having to just work with QUARTZ-Bots because he doesn't get along with people.
No, it's after he kills Screech. The higher ups are like, you don't get to work with people anymore.
You get robots.
Yeah.
Delta would definitely get dissected frame one.
Yeah.
If they ever got found.
If they catch him, yeah.
I don't know. Would Delta and Richard get along?
I think potentially. Because I was watching there's this thing of like in comic books, there's two tropes that usually happen with like artificial characters. The first trope is that they end up like something kind of like Red Tornado in DC, where Red Tornado is like a robot superhero, but it is definitely like a robot. It's not like doesn't have like Red Tornado still like thinks and stuff, but it's not like because it's very much like, oh no, this is a robot, and that's part of their thing is that they don't really like connect with humanity, and so people are always unsettled by this character. And that the other one, the trope that's usually often is characters like the Vision, where it's like, oh no, this is still a artificial character, but they are very philosophical in this way of very much thinking about humanity in these different ways, right? And like Richard is neither of those things. Richard is a goofy little guy. But I do think Delta definitely leans more towards that philosophical type of artificial character.
Like a Zenyatta.
Yeah. But yeah, so I like to think that like I think Delta would definitely be fascinated by Richard. And I think Richard would be a little bit like unsettled by Delta.
I see.
Of like in a different world, those two would easily be swapped.
Let's see. Here's a question about what was it? Tau?
Mm-hmm.
QUARTZ-Bot Tau?
Yeah.
For what purpose did they make an animal robot?
Yeah.
Why would they do that? Like, is that is it like just because they can?
Maybe somebody just thought it was pretty neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or somebody's hyperfixation.
That was when they ran out of like cool weapons to put on them, and so like, what if this one transforms?
But who's paying for this?
Yeah.
Like, who put this in the budget?
Not the taxpayers, but
Had,
the
like,
investors.
They had some like money that they had like allocated to something else, and they're like, oh, we gotta spend it. We gotta spend this grant money on something.
Lion robot.
Yeah, and Dr. Nard's like, listen, guys. Come along with me for the ride on this one. Trust me, I really think I've got something here.
Enter my mind palace.
It's like I'm cooking real good over here.
Well, my last question that I prepared here is about the QUARTZ-Bots replacing the police.
Mm-hmm.
So as I remember, they're like really big. They're big, right? Like big guys.
They vary in size, but like the war units are definitely more of those like big giant ones.
Because the way you were describing it sounded like they were all optimized for like combat situations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So my thought is, well, I mean, they won't fit in a car,
Mm-hmm.
so like, they can't really be first responders.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's a two-part question. One, are they just stationed around the city?
Mm-hmm.
And how does that infrastructure work? And two, like, do they respond to like traffic stops and like, wellness checks and things like that? The other stuff that police do.
A wellness check being conducted by a robot is crazy.
Yeah.
So like, how do those things work?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think. In terms of that, I think the like all of the old DCPD like precincts got sort of retrofitted and repurposed to be these sort of like central points for the QUARTZ-Bots to dispatch out of. And from there, yeah, most of it is like cool. Yeah, walk the streets, go do your patrols, your program patrols and stuff like that. There are some points later on where they get some like really crazy individual like QUARTZ-Bot vehicles pop up a little bit here and there. In Dynamite, it's not one that happened at the table, but it was like an off screen, for lack of a better word, thing where a QUARTZ-Bot tank showed up and put a giant hole in the Lady Legacy. And then later on in the 8 Days War, like the QUARTZ-Bot unit that was dropped off to supplement the Earth Defense Legion was from like a jet that was also a QUARTZ-Bot. And so those are like rare instances of like, oh, we have some vehicles if we have to like get them way across the world. But outside of that, with Industrious City, it's mostly just like, all right, cool. Walk to the nearest crime.
So they're not taking the sidewalk, are they? Or are they like, do they take up the street? Do they have to close the street down whenever they respond? Are they fast?
I think it depends. Some of them are definitely faster than others. I think the enforcers are definitely the most mobile of them all. So these are the ones that would be like your first responders. And like the operators would be ones that are much more like in terms of like a wellness check, or if like they had to try and talk someone down from like a de-escalate a situation, they would send in an operator unit. But from there, like the war, stealth, and sentinel models, the war model is entirely used for combat.
Right.
Of like, no, this is we are going to destroy, and that's one that they don't actually see with Industrious City very often. But like the stealth and sentinel units are like. The stealth one is the one that's just like, okay, we've got someone here, and it's basically serving as like a CCTV thing. And the sentinel ones are the ones that are out like on patrol consistently.
It is kind of was it concerning if you were a citizen of Justice City.
Yeah.
And like you're calling the police knowing that they can only walk there.
Yeah.
Like that sucks, right?
Yeah.
Like what if you live far away from a police station? You're just like, oh, they'll be there in 30 minutes.
You're screwed.
Yeah.
They gotta walk there.
No, yeah. Well, and that was one that I pointed out with my students when we were doing some of our table work for What If, of like we see in the warehouse scene where like Jason is like calling like the hotline for QUARTZ-Bots, like please send one here now, and they're like, okay, it'll be 15 minutes, and it's like
He's like, I'm gonna be dead in 15 minutes.
Yeah. But there's also like in the Bright Star scene of like there's very clearly a crime happening out in the open in a public setting, and none of them are showing up to help out, right? And so that's one that I talked with my kids. I was like, the QUARTZ-Bots don't have an initiative of their own. Like if someone doesn't ask for help isn't coming.
Which is like that on top of the slow response time. It makes you wonder why anybody would think they were a good idea for a police force.
Yeah.
Right? Because like,
Well,
I
I mean, when your original police force just shoots up itself, I mean, like they're probably like at the time they're like, yeah, this is a better option.
Yeah, well, and I think as well, it was like it's sort of the like, oh, I can't remember the actual name for it, but like at the time of the Council of Three incident, there's only 22 of them in operation at that point, right? And they don't all need like individual people operating them. They have their like programming. They say, cool, here's your directive, here, do this thing. They usually have to have someone giving them directions still. But they all have individual like onboard protocols for when something happens, and so those ones I feel like that one as well gives the illusion of they work fast, only because Gemstone already knew where Roy Smith was, and so that's like they are very tactful at hiding that fact from the public. It was like, oh no, these things aren't fast whatsoever, right? And that's sort of why we have to distribute them, cast a wide net across the city, so that we can keep our eyes on things.
Which sounds really expensive.
Yeah.
A lot more expensive than just hiring more human police officers.
Yeah.
Right. And probably, again, like an infrastructure thing is like we have to install this infrastructure. We have to buy all these super expensive robots, put them around everywhere. But they still thought that was a better idea than hiring and training human police officers. So, like, was it really just that bad and that urgent, like we need the robots now, or was it bad planning on the city's part?
It was one that, because with that as well, Roy Smith, part of that whole like kidnapping thing is that he ends up with the sapphire powering, which gives him the power of persuasion over other people. It's sort of like instant mind control, essentially, of like, no, you will agree with me, this is happening. And so the two people who come in as replacements for the Council of Three and join him, he has full control over them from that point on. So when they put the vote forward of like, okay, are we going to institute these? And he says yes, because Gemstone tells him he has to say yes. And so it's one that's like, I think absolutely even the public is like, this is really bizarre. Like, yeah, I guess we see the point of this, but also like these are definitely talking points that would happen on the news of like, okay, is it really cheaper to hire and maintain these robots than to hire and like have the pension and training funds for all of these other things? And there's still like, you know, new officers as recruits and stuff, but I think recruitment definitely goes down big time as a result, because there are some people who are like, I don't want to work with those big scary robots. Yeah.
That's all the questions I had prepared. You clearly thought a lot about these robots.
Yeah.
Right. From a narrative perspective or a meta narrative perspective, why did you feel the need that you needed this army of robots? Was it like, oh, I need something for the players to fight, or was this always a part of the setting? Was this always an integral part of the setting?
This was here from the beginning in the Cataclysm campaign, sort of as like mini bosses to throw the players against here and there, to sort of like judge their like strength levels, and to keep a little bit of like intrigue going on too. Of like one of the other things that was always the underlying thing with Cataclysm is that like the mystery of what Gemstone's actually planning with the power rings, with the QUARTZ-Bots, with everything else that they end up doing. And so keeping them around was definitely a big part of that. And it's sort of the big reveal at the end of Cataclysm is like, oh, all of these were connected to the same plan. And so that was their like early function. And then from there, they sort of served as like a narrative shorthand to say a gemstone is involved here in some way.
I see.
Of like when you see a quartz spot anywhere in the world, you know gemstone has something to do with it.
I see.
And so that like when...
It was helpful for us as players. Like if
Yeah.
a quartz spot showed up, we're like,
No,
we
yeah.
know who's involved in this.
Right.
Because like when in the Dynamite campaign, when they're going through and doing the liberation of Rondor, I don't think I had like laid any clues out of beforehand that gemstone had anything to do with Rondor. And then, you know, they get past the blockade, they beat the first boss, and they get to the second boss. And I said, by the way, there's QUARTZ-Bots here. And John, who was playing Severica, was like, are you kidding me? Here too?
Right.
And he was mad, and like with good reason. And it was great. And it was also, I had a fun time. I found like I pulled like boss music off of Spotify, and this was a couple weeks after the Dark Troopers episode of Mandalorian had happened. So I was using that song as the QUARTZ-Bots song, and it was scary. So yeah, that was sort of what developed from there. And then afterwards, there was a while, and I'm still tinkering around with how much of what happens in Industria City post Dynamite is and isn't canon still. Because there was a point where I did write out a lot of the stuff that happens after Cataclysm and after Dynamite especially. And a lot of it gets very violent and dark. And now I'm looking back on it, I'm like, I know Industria City is a crazy place compared to the rest of the world. I don't know how much I want to lean into that as much as I did in that writing. Because a lot of it was like, oh, and then there's this big fight, and like a lot of significant characters die in this fight for no reason other than I want to kill them off so I don't have as many characters to juggle later on. And I've grown as a writer since then, and I don't like using that as an excuse to kill characters anymore. And so like that's something that like at the table, you know, mechanically in a tabletop setting still works as like the dice roll the numbers, therefore the character dies. Right. But narratively, it doesn't have as much of an impact if that's if you just say, oh, it's random, it's realistic. Right. I don't like that excuse anymore for character death. Sort of why I don't really like The Walking Dead past season 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think a lot of that was like to specifically set up Industria City as something that is very distinct. Like that's one of the identifying factors with that setting is that these things are here, and they are intrinsically, just like Gemstone Industries, intrinsically tied to the identity of the city.
Before we wrap up today's episode, Justin, do you want to give a shout out to anything?
Yes, I do. I have a website. It'll be in the show notes. I hope.
It will be. We're going to get better at doing that.
I post my music there, my plays, among other things that I do creatively. So if you want to check that out, that'd be great.
Nice.
Our next episode is going to be our Richard Briggs episode with Andrew Aguilar. Will be a fun conversation about this super interesting character with Industria City. I'm really excited to be talking to Andrew about this character. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of...
I thought it was going to be quieter than that.
We'll edit in post.
Okay. Is everybody okay?
Yeah.
Now can I land the plane?
Yes.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Lore Drop.
And remember...
The fantastic start to being That's great. Yeah. Turn the air conditioning back on.
Reinvent Productions is proudly sponsored by 5 Points Corporation Lubbock and Savannah Rashida Photography, as well as our other wonderful community patrons. Our home base in Lubbock is Hollingsworth Hall Cultural Center at 4228 Boston Avenue. For more information on how to support our 501c3 organization, you can check out our website at www.reinvent-productions.com. To directly support our upcoming audio drama, you can become a Lore Drop sponsor. For just $10, you can sponsor an episode of this podcast. All donations will go towards support for our upcoming production of Children of Destiny Cataclysm Season 1, which will begin releasing episodes June 22nd, 2026. Funds will go towards paying our wonderful voice actors and creative staff for their fantastic talent and time. We have over 30 artists globally working on this production, and we can't wait for you to hear it this summer. You can donate at givebutter.com/Lore Drop sponsor. You can also find us on Instagram Instagram and TikTok at reinvent.productions, as well as on Facebook and Twitch, where we stream gaming and a look behind the scenes on how we create our new works. Be sure to follow us to stay in the loop about upcoming productions, auditions, and more. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode of Lore Drop.